So hi guys, welcome. I know it's quite we're not so numerous this time. We're just talking before that. I think the reason is that all the Romanian people got the opportunity of getting only the 2 working days, so they took those off as well and left the country or something like that. But welcome, and I hope you're gonna enjoy the talk. A couple of words about Startup Grind. Startup Grind is a global conference where we organize events like this, meetups, bigger, smaller, depends on the country and on the city, how well the ecosystem is developed. Currently we have 220 cities in which we do this. And more information about business information, we also have a blog. So you can go to startupgrind.com and get to know what we write about. A couple of words about our guest today. So he's the Honorary Consul of the Consulate of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. He studied economics and consumer science at I hope I'm gonna pronounce it good, Wageningen.
Yes, very good.
University in the Netherlands. He started his entrepreneurial journey in 1993, and since then he founded 4 companies, and he has a vast experience in restructuring companies so they can become successful and profitable again. One of the key factors, according to Wouter, is that in this is a strong and good communication. So more about his experience about him and about himself I'm going to ask during the interview, so please give him a round of applause for taking his time and being with us today. So Wouter, we kick it off with a simple question, going way back into let's say your previous years and childhood years.
Yes.
And I would like to ask you, what was your childhood like? What were your passions? And
I'm so old I don't remember that anymore. No, actually I had a quite good childhood. I was born in a let's say a pretty small town, at least for Dutch understandings, which in that time maybe had 50,000 people living in it. So it was a very secure childhood with my parents. And the things that I would like to do actually when I was young was mainly sports. So I was very active in sports. I was doing judo at the time. I was riding a bicycle, like all Dutch ice skating. So
did you went like to championships and stuff like that with judo?
For judo, yes.
Yeah.
Because later I also did jiu-jitsu and I was also a teacher. So but that was in a later stage. And also speed biking. I also did championships, maybe it's a big word, but I was doing, let's say, competition.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. So you most probably will not need a bodyguard.
I will not comment on that, but...
I think you're still remembering some moves so and stuff.
That's for sure, because I also trained American soldiers, so I know
really?
some...
What time was this? Was it like...
That was actually when I was training, it was at the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s.
And did they contact you?
Yes.
Because you have won several championships and...
Okay.
Was it like...
I had in my group where I was teaching, I already had some soldiers who were stationed in the place where I was living.
Okay.
And they came up with the idea to do it on
train some more soldiers and do it on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did you? What did you like? How did you? Why did you go into sports and why did you go into economics?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, some things just happen. I don't think that when I was young I was really occupied with if I should go in business or if I should go in sport. I was more like I should do what I like to do.
Okay.
And at that moment that was actually doing sports, because I really like to do sports. But you know, you can do sports, but you also need to make some money. So when I was a high school student Actually, I started my first business. I went in every weekend to a market. I would be buying very cheap. That was also in the 80s. I bought tools that were made in China, and they were really cheap, and I was selling them on the market for a nice price. So I was one of the students in high school who had, when I was 18, I already had a car, so I had some money.
Okay.
I could travel because I really liked to travel. So actually it went hand in hand, and okay, when you are successful in one thing, and okay, I also was successful in sport, but I think the business had a bigger attraction, so I went more into that direction. But I didn't start, so when I was a student I had my own business, but after I graduated university I didn't open my own business immediately. I worked also for some other company.
Yeah. So basically this is somehow the same trend which I've been reading and also finding out from the discussions which I had with my previous guests here, that they somehow all started in their early age and early stages of some kind of form of entrepreneurship or business or something like that. So, and they this bug installed and never left from them. So
I think the bug installed. I also have to say I come from a family of entrepreneurs because I grew up in an entrepreneurial family.
Okay.
So my parents also had their own business. So I haven't seen anything else. During my childhood, I have always seen my father working, my mother working. Okay, that changed, of course, a little bit during the period. But as a small child, this is how I grew up. So I didn't know anything else.
Do you think that for a person, do you think it? I mean, that I'm going to switch that question. How much in percentage do you think it's important for a person to have a family that comes with entrepreneurial context for success purposes?
Yes, I think it's a help, but I don't think it's a must. So because if you look around and you look also to very successful entrepreneurs, they do not all have parents, or they do not come always from a family with entrepreneurs. I think that being successful in business has to do with other things. So, for example, not giving up, believing in yourself. That are the things which I think are very important. So not so much that you have to come from an entrepreneurial family.
What do you think that are the most three important things when it comes to
being successful or in
kicking
business?
It off?
I think first of all you need to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, you cannot sell yourself. And in business, in my opinion, it's all about selling yourself. Don't give up, because looking at entrepreneurs, you will see that all of them maybe have failed also in some of their endeavors. And another thing is that you need also a little bit of luck, but you can force your luck in the right direction by using also the other two that I said first.
Do you think that luck can be, I don't know, let's say you can leverage a network that you have built?
I think networking is one of the most important things. So, because, I started quite young with my business, but I was not a big networker at that time. And now, looking back, I think that if I would have done more on the networking side, I would have been successful even faster. Because by growing your network, you can expand your business very fast. Okay.
How about people that they're not like extroverts, but they're introverts and more like they don't like to socialize? And what would be like an advice for them? Should they get a CEO or a salesperson?
I think that first of all, that's a good question, because I have seen a few people who have this thing. First of all, you need to learn where are your skills. So even if you are introvert, that doesn't mean you have entrepreneurial skills. But you need to find out what's your strong point, and then also you need to be honest with yourself and say, look, this is what I am good in, so maybe you're not good at being a CEO. I remember I used to have a client, and his company was extremely successful. They were opening shops all over the Netherlands, in Germany, and then always when I came to visit him, he was the owner, but he was not the CEO. He had a nice lady who was the CEO, and they always asked him, but this is your company, why you are not the CEO? He said, I'm good at one thing. I'm good in buying stuff, in decorating, but I cannot, tell people what to do. I don't have the skill, so I hired somebody who's doing it for me. And that actually made him very successful. But because he knows where is his place and what he's good at. So never try to do something that you're not good at. There are lots of other people who you can hire to do these things.
Yeah, I agree. I've been following Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if you know him. He's a very big social media guru from the United States. And he's continuously saying and repeating to all his community and followers that you should become self-aware of what are your strengths.
Yes.
And put all your money on that. All other bring in people and other people with those skills that you are missing. So
and I think a little bit of stubbornness is also very good.
Stubbornness?
Yes, because when you will start your own, or you want to start your own business, 1,000 people will tell you not to do it because it's not good. You will lose your money. You will this. Again, I come to the point what I said in the beginning. If you believe in yourself, you can sell your story. Even though others don't believe in it, go for it. And also a thing you need to learn is that failure, it's a part of life. So maybe you will come with an idea, because for sure in my career, I also failed. Not all my ideas were brilliant. But don't see it as a failure, see it as a step in learning. So it's the next step to get more close to where you want to get.
Yeah. So it also depends on the mindset and on the perspective you have.
It is the mindset that you have, yes. Be optimistic and positive, and we all have our mistakes. So, and I think it's, making a mistake, it's actually just learning. So
I agree.
We have this saying in Dutch, which is vallen en opstaan, which means falling down and standing up, which means, okay, you make a mistake, you stand up and you continue.
Yeah.
Like learning to walk.
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
All these little children, they are falling down, but they try again and try
rise
again, and in the end they are running. And we have all done it, so we have the ability to do it.
Exactly. You said that you had failures previously.
Yes.
Can you give us maybe an example, giving us details, how much details you would like to do that failure, but give us an example and how did you deal with it?
Okay, failure, it depends how you see failure. For example, so after I graduated university, I started to work for a company, but I always had the urge that I would like to do something myself. And in that period, we didn't have yet internet, we had fax. Yeah. So I got myself a fax machine, and I was thinking, what shall I do? I need to buy something, because I had this experience that buying cheap things from China with the tools that I was selling, let's say in the weekend, I made some money, and I was thinking I need to find products from China, and then you still have them. It was I think Hong Kong Trade Council, which I think still exists. Now they are on internet, you can find all the products, but then in every quarter they came with a book which was like this, and they would send it to you. I requested it and they would send it from China. And then you had all these companies, promoting themselves with all these products. And I remember I found a popcorn maker. It was a small machine, and I was thinking, my God, that's a nice machine. And I started to send faxes, and I was so anxious about this business that, if in the night the fax machine would ring, I would jump out of bed, go and have a look. Did I have an answer about... And then, okay, in the end I got some samples, and I tried, but it didn't work. I didn't get anybody crazy for this idea, and it passed. But looking back, I was a little bit too early, because a few years later it was a big success, because other people also were selling these automatic popcorn machines. Yeah. It was just probably not the moment, or maybe I didn't push it enough. I was not, maybe not with 100% into it. So that was, let's say, a small failure. Yeah. But okay, then you continue, and anyhow I was working, so the failure for me was not that problematic, because I had income from my job. And then, by, let's say, kind of a coincidence, if you can talk about coincidence, because we have to go a little bit through my career. When I finished high school, I was working as an export manager for a company in climate control, and I was traveling around the world. And one day I go for this company to Poland.
Okay.
And I was going to give a course in marketing to the people of the company which we were doing business with. And in that evening, actually the evening before, I was sitting at the bar of the hotel, and next to me was an American guy who started to talk to me. Very interesting guy. He was the CEO of a huge American company. And he said, but what are you doing here? I said, no, I'm here for this company. Tomorrow I'm giving a marketing course. Oh, how interesting. Do you mind if I join? Because it's a nice, interesting subject.
Okay.
And I have nothing to do. Why not? Please come. So he came with me. He didn't say anything. He listened. He smiled. And then in the evening we were back at the same bar, and he said, I like you. So no, nice. I want you to work for me. I said, no, I don't want to work. No, I'm serious. I want you to work for me. You have to come to the States and you will work for me there. I said, no, I'm not interested. I don't want to go to the States. I like Holland. I stay where I am. I will get you to the States, he said. And then actually we had a nice evening. He went back to the States. I went back to Holland. And 1 week later, the doorbell was ringing. And there was this FedEx was at the door with a small envelope, FedEx, and I open the envelope, take it out, tickets to the States, tickets to the States. And the same day he called me, he said, I told you that you need to come to the States. I send you the tickets and I expect you to come. I said, you are crazy.
That's some stubbornness. That's some another level of stubbornness.
So I said, you are crazy. He said, no, I want you to come. So actually I took a holiday, I took a week off. I went to the States. In the end, I stayed even longer than planned, and he made me an offer I couldn't refuse.
Okay.
And I went to the States. So, and then, okay, I worked there. That was in a company that was doing equipment for the greenhouse industry. So they were making machines, potting machines. I was responsible for they wanted to open a new office for Europe in the Netherlands, and that should be my responsibility. Yeah. But then the owner said I should stay in the States and live there because he liked the way I was approaching things. But that I refused, and in the end I really came back to the Netherlands. I did that for a while. And then, okay, they had some problems in the States, and we had an office in England and we had an office in the Netherlands, and they put it together and they offered me the position for England. Okay. But I refused it, and then I started actually my own company because
that was my
that's
one of
where
my
I
questions.
wanted to. That's where I wanted to get. Sorry, it takes a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. This is
yes,
perfect.
Yes. So that's actually when I started my own company. But it gave me on one side the assurance of income because I was still doing work for them. Because okay, the transformation, them to move there and to help somebody else. And on the other side, having lots of experience, because in this period, which I told you in a small nutshell, I got lots of experience in Romania because I came to Romania for the first time. That was in '91. During the work for the Americans, yes. Okay. And also I was in Poland, and I got lots of companies because it was, the start. So when let's say the biggest part of Eastern Europe start to be, let's say, more free and try to develop the commercial part, lots of companies wanted to do something, and they asked me, okay, you have been there, can you do something for us? So I started to do some work as a consultant, and one of my clients was actually a furniture company. So
a furniture
company, yes. They were two young guys, very enthusiastic, but they were burning money faster than they were making it. Okay. So to give you the picture, and in the end that company went bankrupt. It was one of my clients, but because I connected them with big companies in the Netherlands who were buying from them, and I also found the producers, their clients were calling me, Wouter, can you help us? The company is bankrupt, but we have orders, we need to deliver tables, we know that you have done it, what can you do? I said, okay, I can call the factories and see how we can get the furniture here, at least to help you. So we made the deliveries, and then, when you make the invoices, so that's interesting business because, that I always call it the golden age of furniture, because then the profit margins were very high. Yeah. And then I decided that's interesting, and I went into the furniture business, and that's actually what I did for quite a while. Yeah,
I've seen this. So was this your first company?
That was yes. That was actually my.
Was it like?
It was the first company was more the company was doing consultancy, and then after I saw that the furniture business is going very well, I let go of the consulting part and I started to be only focused on furniture.
Okay. And how did this somehow business venture got you to move to Romania, or when did you move to Romania, or how was this the bankrupt company? Was it from Romania?
No. That was a company from the Netherlands. It actually was a client which was from the Netherlands, so that was not. No, actually, because we are talking about the 90s, beginning of the 90s when I started with furniture, and when I really moved to Romania, we were already in 2000, I think 2 or 2004, somewhere in that period.
Okay.
So I sold the business in the Netherlands, and then I said, okay, in the meantime I also opened a factory here, which actually I still have. I have a furniture factory in Satu Mare.
Yeah.
That I didn't sell when I sold my business in the Netherlands. So I said, okay, let's try to enjoy life a little bit and also be focused on the factory. But the factory actually was running well. They don't need me to do the business. And then, okay, you get more free time. And then being here in Cluj, all these Dutch companies who had problems came to me and said, can you not help us? Because you are here such a long time, we have problems. So I started again a little bit doing consultancy work.
Okay. That's really interesting. And how did it happen that they somehow got you and appointed you Honorary Consul of the United Kingdom, of the Kingdom of Netherlands?
That was so. In 2002, I came here, and then that was in the period that, let's say, the Dutch companies. You see let's say, a steep increase of the amount of companies, and in that time, getting information for Dutch was still a little bit complicated because they were all like pioneers. Okay, I came in '91, but the majority came at the end of the '90s, beginning of 2000. So they were all a little bit pioneering. And then these Dutch here in Cluj together said, why don't we organize a club where we can help each other? So they came up with the Dutch Business Club.
So the Dutch came with the initiatives. The Dutch companies came.
Yes, the Dutch companies came with the initiative of the Dutch Business Club, not the Consulate. That's the next step. So and there, okay, we got organized. I was in the board, so I was already very active. And then I think in 2005 or 6, the Netherlands opened here Netherlands Business Support Office, which is not from the embassy. It's actually like an economic office which is there to help investors or to bring investors, Dutch investors, to Romania to support them. That was, let's say, till 2008, 2009, that was active. Then it was closed, and then I remember that our ambassador had a meeting with the former mayor in that time about the fact that, okay, the NBSO was gone, which actually I think the town of Cluj didn't like very much because, why are you leaving?
It's basically losing.
So, and then I think that the discussion was that maybe the Netherlands will open a consulate in Cluj. And I think at the press conference, the mayor was so enthusiastic at that time that he said in front of the press, I just heard that the Netherlands will open a consulate in Cluj.
So nothing official yet, but you already
nothing officially yet, but it was announced. But okay, then to become a consul, actually, it's not something that you can. They are not looking for that in the newspaper. How do you call it? They don't put an ad. So what the embassy is doing, they are making a list with 10 people, which they think have good connections to the authorities, know the companies, actually know the country. So in case there is a problem, they need somebody who could help. They come with a list of 10, then they make a selection themselves and they get 5. And with these 5 people, they plan an interview. So they called me and they said, Wouter, we are going to open, or actually we are thinking of opening a consulate. Would you be interested of being consul? Of course, I will be interested of being the consul. So then they came to Cluj, to people from the embassy. It's like a job interview. They ask you all kind of questions. What would you do if? What if?
Was it hard, or was it like? Is it a typical?
It's not hard, but it are questions that you are not used to. Because okay, what would you do if a Dutch person has an accident and it's in the hospital? Papers are lost. What would you do? Something like that.
Okay.
Okay, you give an answer. You don't know if it's a good answer or not, because what's the correct answer? Maybe now I could tell you what's the correct answer, but in that period.
But does it fall somehow under your responsibility as a consul?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
And so they ask you all kind of questions. They also speak with the authorities. They try to get an idea how appreciated you are, let's say, under the Dutch investors, because okay, from one side they need somebody who is, let's say, friends with the Dutch, because okay, you need to help them, and on the other side who also has connections with the local authorities. And in the end they came up with two people, and these two, which was me and somebody else, and these two people will have an interview then with the ambassador, and then okay, officially the ambassador gives only a preference. And why is that? Because then there is a background check. That means the Romanian Secret Service needs to check on you, the Dutch needs to check on you, you need to have a very clean record, otherwise you cannot become...
What does it mean, a clean record? Like no...
No criminal records.
Criminal
actually,
records.
Yes,
I mean...
Yes. So if there is something...
Fines and like things like that doesn't...
I didn't have fines, so yes.
I mean,
no,
like,
you need to have a clean record. What that I don't know how far they go, so I cannot tell you, because I don't know. I don't know how far the Romanians go in checking you, so it's difficult to say. But they can refuse it, so they have the right to refuse. That's why
the Romanians to appoint somebody.
Yes, they have the right to refuse. So if, for example, somebody would be proposed, and the Romanians would say, okay, we have a problem, they can say, okay, we don't accept it. So, And then, okay, after the lights are green, then the Queen officially appoints you in the function of Honorary Consul.
Okay.
Yes. And
that was quite a process of...
That's a very interesting process.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's because, you know, for me it's an honor, because, you know, I am Dutch, and I am representing my own company, because we also have Romanian consuls, which are Romanian but representing the Netherlands.
Yeah.
But for me, of course, it's an honor, because I am Dutch. So that gives it a special touch.
The other two persons, were they also Dutch, or were they?
They were Romanian.
Romanian.
We have one in Constanța and in Timișoara, and they are Romanian. Yes.
So it can be that it can be a Romanian nationality.
It can be, yes.
Okay. Good. Startup Grind is about a lot about startup tech startups and so on.
Yes.
And Cluj is also growing. Dutch, they have even a bigger ecosystem and more investments into tech startups. Did somehow this industry, did it got to you? I mean, are you interested in the tech startup industry and entrepreneurship, or did you have any requests from this side? Because you have been doing classical business, production or commerce and so on.
Yeah.
Since we're quite in the tech entrepreneurial nowadays.
Well, actually, I'm doing a little bit of what's tech. So one of the activities within the company, I have a small section where we do monitoring of networks. So we are in the IT sector, we are active. We don't write software, but we monitor systems. But we do this actually only for Dutch clients, because I have noticed that Romanian companies are not really yet ready. I think that's now changing. Yeah. But because there is quite a lot of work in the Netherlands, we are focused on that, only on the Netherlands.
But monitoring what kind of systems?
Monitoring is actually, it's an automated system. We use special software where we monitor servers. We can do it also on a different level, but what we mainly do is monitor servers. And what does that mean? That, you know, our software knows certain parameters in a server. If these parameters are out of the limits or out of the range, we get flags. So if it's a little bit, we get let's say an orange flag or a yellow flag, and if it's really bad, we get a red flag. If we have red flags, it has to be solved immediately, and the others can be done in time. So what we try to do is we try to keep the servers, actually the system of clients running without them seeing it. So we solve problems in the background.
Okay.
And that's more
that's
tech.
Quite a big part of tech.
That's a very important part. So Incluj, of course, is very big in software development, but we are doing actually something a little bit different. We are doing the backbone, I would say.
And from the perspective of maybe a startup from Cluj or maybe a startup from Netherlands, did they come to you, to the Dutch Business Club, or to you personally, asking, hey Wouter, could you help us out with this and this and this problem? Does it happen?
It happens every week.
Really?
Yes.
So maybe you could explain us, or how could
it depends a little bit on the company. So for example, last week I had a very big software company which is planning to come to Cluj.
From Dutch to...
From the Netherlands, coming to Cluj, where they actually asked me if we could help them as a consulate, if we could help them more on the legal side, because I do not know exactly, because I had only a very brief meeting. But you know, when you talk about cloud services or whatever is happening in that world, there is also lots of legal stuff which it's important now, because you know it's going cross-border, and then the legislation here, how is that compared to the legislation in the Netherlands? So maybe I'm in the Netherlands, but I'm offering my service in Romania, and maybe I'm bound by Romanian legislation. So they asked us if we can help them in that. Probably we cannot, because
but you can recommend other companies.
But then we recommend companies that can be a Dutch lawyer, but it can also be a Romanian lawyer if I know there is specialty. As a consul, I can never recommend only one, because that would be a little bit strange to say, okay, this is the best, then you could have the idea that, oh, but why only him? So what we do is we try to make a list with several companies or several possibilities, and then they have to choose themselves.
Otherwise it would be quite suspicious that you recommend only one.
It's okay, suspicious or not, it is better. I think it's the more transparent way.
Exactly, and more integrity to the entire process. Okay, so I think, like, for everybody who's listening in and for everybody who's here, I think, for example, if a Cluj startup comes to you, you could definitely, I don't know, maybe guide them and recommend them maybe something that they would need for expanding their business in the Netherlands.
Yes, but sometimes, it's actually not one of the things that we normally do, but sometimes there is also a Cluj startup coming. And that can be because they are looking for contacts, or they want to know how the business mentality is in the Netherlands. So I'm always open to meet somebody and to explain them what are the possibilities. And even sometimes, you know, it's very narrow what we can do, but sometimes we can also supply them with some contacts. This
is really important. This is also a thing which I found out from all the travels which I had in the last couple of months. I've been to London twice, I've been to San Francisco, and so it has been proven to me that one thing which you already mentioned at the beginning is that business is still done face-to-face and through network. And the other thing is that if you go, like, some things you cannot find out by reading blog posts and statistics and so on.
Sometimes
you have to go into that. So one thing which I found out is also that a difference between London and Silicon Valley in terms of venture capital and venture money is that in London they always look at, do you have any sale? If you have sales, let's talk. In Silicon Valley, maybe they don't care about sales, but they care about track record. Have you been successful previously? Because that's going to prove, okay, you're going to be successful now. So this is really important. And also I think the thing which you mentioned, that you could show the startups how's the Dutch mentality and how you should approach, you know, maybe business, maybe other
I think
parts?
first of all, communication. You need to communicate. If you have a question, never be afraid. There are no stupid questions. So that's not
I agree.
rule number one. Just ask it. And sometimes, information is so easy to get. For example, last week I had a Romanian company who is selling products in a web shop, but they are selling cross-border, asking me how, because there are some changes in legislation where VAT should be paid, and they just came with a question and said, okay, can we set up in the Netherlands only with a VAT registration? No, that was an easy question, and I could help them because in Holland we are quite well organized for that. So our tax authorities have a special phone number for that. They talk in English, so you just give them a call and you say, look, this is what I do. I'd like to have a VAT number. They will send you all the forms. You just fill them out. So sometimes it's very
really
easy.
Hands-on, easy.
So you could also go to maybe a big consulting company and pay a lot of money, but just a phone call to me, it's for free.
Exactly. So you as a startup, you bootstrap and you go network and
Yes, you go network. You go to find the answers to your questions.
Exactly.
And most of the time in your network, you will find the answers.
Yeah. So I think it would be a really good value, like for startups or maybe the sales CEOs should get into the Dutch Business Club.
Yes, actually, that's what I always propose because I get many questions for help in whatever field, and the most common answer that I give is that why don't you just come to a meeting of the Dutch Business Club, or sometimes even the international club, because it's not always that it needs to be with the Dutch, because there actually are the people that you need to talk to. They are coming there, or just meet them, talk with them, and find out what you need to find out.
Exactly.
And maybe you can even get a spin-off, because maybe some of these companies are so interested in what you're doing that it's a win-win situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I agree.
And if you would have stayed at home, for sure you wouldn't have known. So.
Comfort zone, of course.
Yes.
Nothing moves.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and we're going to talk about the ecosystem and how maybe you see it, the Cluj startup ecosystem. What do you think that the ecosystem should be? I mean, what should it get, or what should be inputted in the ecosystem so it moves faster?
Ecosystem, you mean what is needed for startups?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's a question with a big answer, because from startups you get to business, and then when you get to business we already get. I think for startups now, I think the climate in Cluj is quite good. I think knowledge is here. You have the university is very open. You can get help, you can make contracts with them for knowledge. So I think that it's actually getting quite well organized, but I'm a little bit more worried about the next step, because the next step is when you have your plan and you develop it, you need labor force. Yeah. And there we have a serious problem here, and not only in Cluj, actually, I think almost in all of Romania, or at least in the big cities. So we don't have labor force. And why we don't have labor force? Because the educational system, it's not set up well. So that is a serious problem. We have, if you are going to the shopping mall and you go into a shop and you will ask somebody at the cash register, what did you study? I can tell you that 90% of all these people have a university degree.
Exactly.
Now, then the question is, are these people happy that with their university degree, they can manage to cash in money at a cash register? No, they are not. Yeah. But why is this? Yes, because the universities and the state are not taking the responsibility. It means that the level of people, let's say the level that's now entering in the university, it's not high enough. So shifting, it's not done well enough, because it cannot be that in a Romanian society, if you compare it to other countries, everybody has a university degree.
This is a really big problem. Yeah,
this is a problem. So
everybody has a university degree. Yeah.
It should be better selected. That means that what we know in the Netherlands, we have professional education from lower level, medium till high.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any professional education anymore.
We
here.
had before. We
You
had
had,
it.
yes,
Yeah.
you had, but it's completely finished. And
Do you-
what? Yes?
Yeah. Do you think that the university went into? Did they get greedy and more went into a more business perspective?
I don't think it has to do with not so much with greedy. I think it has to do also with the history from where you come.
Yeah.
So if you have been in this, let's say, communist bubble, and then suddenly you are free, you have the right to choose. And of course, my children, of course, I would like them to go to university.
Yeah.
And if everybody thinks I would like them to go to university and you push, and then yes, maybe the business model of the universities was also not the best one, because okay, getting more students means more money, so maybe also there was a little bit of problem. And then we had lots of private universities where we all know in the past that things maybe didn't go as they should have went.
Yeah, exactly.
So you get this period of maybe 10, 15 years where something goes in a wrong direction. Now we are all waking up because, of course, also the government sees it's a problem. Everybody sees it. Yeah, but what now? And now what you see is that the burden actually is on the shoulders of the companies, because you see many companies who are trying to set up education systems to school their own workers, which is nice.
Yeah.
But the question is this the responsibility of the companies or is it the responsibility of the government?
Exactly.
And that's the discussion. It's nice that it's happening,
Yeah.
but I would say government, now it's the moment, the companies are showing you and, honestly saying that German companies, for example, are very strong in this because they have this tradition also in Germany. Government step in and take over.
Yeah, I
Because
agree.
this is a national problem.
It is. I mean, yeah, of course. I think you when you say that private companies, I mean, we have P-Tech.
Yes,
They
yes,
have
yes.
their
Yes.
own.
Yes.
And I think there's another initiative also like this one. So
There are some initiatives, especially in the IT sector.
Yeah.
There are quite, but we need carpenters, we need plumbers, we need electricians. We
and
need
we're
almost
running
everything.
out of this.
And we are running out of them, yes.
Yeah.
Because where we are getting now is the world upside down, where carpenters, plumbers, electricians will make more money than people who have a university degree. Okay, if this is so bad, it's another discussion, but
Yeah.
it's let's say in the Western world, this is not the way it is. But in Romania, it starts to be the way, because these people all start their own company, or they leave,
Yeah.
or they start their own company, and they're making
More money. Yeah.
lots of money, because
Yeah.
there is nobody. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
So they can ask for higher prices and so on.
Yeah.
The
If you are
demand-
building, if you look around in Cluj and you see how many houses are built, imagine how much work there is. If you have a house here and you want to have a plumber tomorrow, I can tell you that it's going to be very hard to find one, if it's only a small thing to do.
Yeah, it is very hard.
You
and I
need to
think
be very patient.
another thing which is the quality of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think that Romanian entrepreneurs are missing when it comes to doing business and building companies?
Mm. Okay.
Why
that's,
they don't like? We have a couple of companies like Life Rail that got acquired. We have companies from Bucharest, but we don't have so much companies or so many companies
Yeah.
that peaked.
Yes, but I think that will change in the future. Maybe a reason why it wasn't till now is also the mentality, because when I look at the Netherlands, our, let's say, mind of trade comes from even the 17th century, when we were, we had the golden age when we were sailing to all parts in the world to do trade. So we have this history from a long time ago, and it was never interrupted because it developed and developed, and we went on and we went on. But if you look at Romania, it was suddenly stopped, and there was nothing because you were not allowed to do your own trade. And then, suddenly you have to start all over again. So I think it's a little bit also the lack of tradition and knowledge.
Okay.
But now, if I look around, especially in Cluj, I see lots of companies who I think will be extremely successful, or already are very successful. So I think that Romania, it's speeding or gearing up at this moment to have also lots of successful companies. And okay, maybe what I would like Romanians to be, but that's maybe also a general thing, to be a little bit more direct. Because, okay, we Dutch, we are very direct. We always say directly what we want. And in business sometimes that can be handy.
I agree.
On the other side, I need to say that I can say that we are direct, but I think Dutch are also very good. I like chameleons if it's international business. They have the ability to adopt very easy to different cultures. And by adopting very easy and trying to see how to move around in a culture, you also can do easily business. I think that's also one of the secrets why the Netherlands is very successful in international business.
I think, we had a training, and I remember now, we had a training now a couple of years back at a company which I worked, and they were educating us on the business ethics from different countries and how you should approach them, like how you should approach Chinese, how you should approach Americans, and like Americans like direct, we're doing business, we're not, we can do business, we don't have to be friends.
No.
But let's do business, you know.
I think if you go to university or if you would like to be doing international business, in my opinion, that's obliged. You should do a course on how different cultures
Study the cultures, exactly.
Because, for example, Japanese are very different. If you want to do business in Japan, you need to show that you are doing very well. That means you need to come with a big car.
Exactly.
In the Netherlands, if you would come with a big car, they would probably think, I'm paying too much money. He has so much money to buy a car, I need to negotiate another price. So it's all the perspective where you are in, and I think it's very important to know this when you are in international business.
Yeah, and also with regards to the Chinese, you have to respect everything that you agreed upon. Like if you agreed like 9 o'clock, if you're not there like 9 o'clock or even sooner, and you're like late, that is a sign that this business is not going to work. The relationship business is not going to work. Yeah.
Well, the Dutch are in that way a little bit the same. They are clockwise. So if you come late, that's not a good sign. That's why I was early today.
Yeah. Also, another thing which I read or heard, I think, it was from Chase Jarvis interviewing Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek, I think. No, Tim Ferriss, sorry. So the author of the 4-hour work week. And he said that on time means 15 minutes sooner.
Yeah.
Before
That sounds Dutch.
That's on time.
Yes.
Okay. So on your journey until now, you have been faced with a lot of difficult moments, I assume. That's why I'm preparing my next question. So how do you make decisions in a hard time, or when you're at a crossroad and you have to make a decision? I don't know exactly what context I should give you or example. Maybe you can share, but how do you make decisions?
How I make decisions, that's a complicated question. I would probably...
Is it more analytical, gut feeling?
I do look. One of the things that I'm doing is I reorganize companies. So make decisions on two things. First of all, I need to have a dashboard. With a dashboard, I need to have the indicators. Where are we financially? I think that is very important for me to see where we are standing.
So like a macro view of...
I just need the dashboard to see, financially, what are we doing? Where are we going? Do we have money? Or because you cannot make decisions if you don't know what you have or where it's going.
Yeah.
And you also need to track where you are going. So that's number one. Two, you need to have the right people. Because whatever you do, it all depends on the people you work with. In every company I am, it's not about me. I am just a little bit organizing things. It's about the people who work with me. So it's about the team that I have. Yeah. If the team is not good, you will not succeed, you will fail. So one of the things I do when I get into a company is I want to know my people. I need to get under their skin to see who are they, what are they doing? Because they are the secret to my success. If I come somewhere to reorganize something, I'm not there all the time. Yeah. They are there all the time. They have to do it. So that's the most important. If I think my team is not good, I need to cut it off immediately. Sometimes that's very difficult, because if you get into a company where people are there for a long period, and they are not performing, I need to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And I do think that a good manager is capable of doing that, because you always have to keep in mind that it is not, when you talk about a company, it's not about the individual there, it's about the company as a whole, because there are lots of people having an income, feeding their families, so you cannot wait, you need to take action. And then when you have the feeling you have a good team, then you start to push forwards.
Okay.
And you have to make your plan, but I always try to think out of the box. I like people who are willing to think out of the box and sometimes come with crazy ideas that others say, yeah, but how can you do that? No, let's just do it.
Yeah,
Believe in it.
I agree.
And again, we come back to you need to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
So I also, for example, I'll give you an example. A company that is producing wood products and is throwing away maybe 60% of 1 cubic meter that comes in to the company. At the end, 30% is used to make furniture, and the 70% they are throwing away, or they are putting it in the fire. And then you can ask yourself,
that's a dumb decision.
Is that a good decision? So no, it's not a dumb decision. So what can you do? Then a long time ago, it's actually not a new technology. You have these machines which can, you see here on the floor, these small pieces of wood.
Yeah.
This they use for parquet, but in the other industry, they would throw it away, or even smaller pieces, they would just throw them away because you cannot use them. But you can also glue them together and you can make tabletops. And then you have a tabletop with all kinds of small pieces. And actually they are selling very well.
Yeah.
So you need to always think different. Try to imagine what can you do. Even with small pieces of wood, you can paint them. If you have a very creative person who can make very funny paintings on a piece of wood, you can sell them.
Yeah.
Otherwise you throw them away. So you need to think a little bit out of the box.
So that is really interesting. I mean, one, you said, so backed by data.
Yeah.
So you have to have data. The second is people.
Data and people, that's okay, you need also money in the end.
Yeah.
But money, trust me, money you can find.
Exactly.
It's not so complicated.
I agree. Like from my travels, I've seen that money, they're hanging around on fences. You just have to come and prove that you're worthy of those money.
Yes.
If you're going to prove it, you're going to have that money.
If you believe, if you believe in yourself and you are sitting in front of somebody and you can explain him your plan, your vision with color, with, and he smells it, he sees the color, he will put his money there.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the secret.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, and the third thing which I got from you is questioning everything. So these three.
Yes, you need to be also, but you need also to be critical towards yourself.
Yeah.
And all the people who work with me know that you can criticize me also, because I'm also not perfect, because it keeps me sharp as well.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Which is actually in Romania something that's unusual, because you don't criticize your boss. And I'm like, okay, but why not?
I know. Also, regarding your journey so far, did you felt or did you had any mentor? And do you think it's important to have a mentor?
Did I have a mentor?
Because
actually,
we don't have all the answers. I mean,
no, I don't have all the answers. Okay, you always have people in your life, at least I have people with which I talk. That doesn't mean they are really mentors, but I think it's good to have people that you can talk with very open, to just to get some feedback.
Yeah.
What do you think of when I do this or when I do that? So, and you should have a few, because the more opinions you get, it's just collecting information. And then, from all the information that you get, you have to make a decision. So, but I cannot say that I really had a mentor. So I have to say that sport was always very important to keep it stable. I think that was
sport.
Sport, yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I agree. I'm really constant on that also myself.
Yes.
So I fully agree with that. I mean,
Yes.
it keeps your mind really clear and
You
balanced.
need to keep yourself balanced. I think that
Yeah.
is very important. If
Yeah.
you lose the balance, you will notice it directly.
Yeah,
And then sometimes if you feel that you're not in balance, take a step back.
I agree. My last question somehow is, what would be your advice to maybe future entrepreneurs from the room, or entrepreneurs which are listening, or startup people, like people that would like or thinking about going into business? What would you advise them to do first thing, despite the industry?
Actually, I think that I said most of this already. First of all, we start again. You need to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, you will not make it. So believe in yourself and accept that you can make mistakes. Don't give up, because it is a journey where we just are learning, and keep pushing forward. Don't see mountains ahead, because you always have to remember one thing: the next day it's coming. So it's not that you will not end the day because maybe you will have something very complicated in front of you, because you will end it. Maybe not in the best way, but the next day it's coming and you have a new chance. I always remember, maybe that's not so much in the business, when I was in high school, I always was thinking, ambassadors and ministers and prime ministers, my God, they must be so clever people,
Yeah.
because how can you get in such position? That must be so difficult. And now, being very close to these people, because I meet my ministers, I meet ministers from the Romanian government, I meet prime ministers, and I have to say that they are all human. So they are just like you and me, and they have experience, they have some knowledge, but what they have is they believe in what they are saying. So that's what I want to say. If you really want to be successful, just go for it. And remember, there is no mountain high enough, because you will pass it, and then you'll go to bed, and the next morning the day starts again, and you push again.
Exactly.
So, and money you will find. So if you have a good plan, there is money. There are always people who are interested in it. And maybe, yes, you have a difficult time. Actually, I met somebody a few weeks ago, and we were talking about very successful startups in the United States, and about money, and somebody said something, my God, sometimes these people, they get millions of euros, and what a nice life. And then the answer was actually very nice, and the lady told me, actually told to the other, said, you don't understand how it works, because these startups, yes, they get millions or sometimes millions of euros, but they have no money. You know what they are doing? They are going to every event in town, one for the network, but most of all, because they have free food, because they have no money in their pocket. All the money is going into their project. So it is difficult, but they believe in themselves, they put all the money in their project, and okay, then anyhow, networking, free food, so it saves you money, and this is how they survive.
Okay.
So
that's a good perspective, yeah.
It's just, going on, not giving up, and believing in yourself, it's actually the most important.
I have one more question. Are you thinking about leaving Cluj?
No, not at all. So no, I'm not leaving. This question I have had a few times. So there is actually one reason why I would leave, not so much Cluj, because I think Cluj actually is the best town to live in Romania. If I would ever leave Romania, it would be because the healthcare system, in my opinion, in this moment, it's not up to date, let's say. So, and when you get older, you need more, you probably
Support
need a little bit more
that.
support from that system. That could be maybe a reason for me to leave if I would get older and I would need that support.
Yeah.
But for the moment I am happy and I have no plans to leave.
Okay.
Actually, I have lots of ideas for new business, so I'm developing.
We're glad to hear that, and good. Thank you very much, Wouter, for accepting my invitation.
My pleasure.
Please give him a round of applause. Okay, guys, thank you very much for coming. I know we've been for in a small number. Please do come on next events. We're not announcing yet the December event. We're still waiting for an answer and a confirmation. Sign up for the newsletter. You're gonna find out about the next events there, Facebook page and so on. Please do network. Please tell to each other what you can help the other person. It's one of our values. Create relationships and friends and not contacts. So please go ahead. You have pretzels here and juices, so feel free. Thank you very much once again. Good. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.